A lesser-known civil rights figure is recognized in Peoria this week. That's just one of the things you'll want to hear about to start your day for Tuesday, August 20th. I'm Colin Shope, and this is WCBU's On Deck. First on deck today, thousands of Bradley University students are coming back to the Peoria campus with a new iPad in hand. The loaner devices are part of a grant-funded partnership between the school and T-Mobile. After signing a lease agreement, students get the 10th generation tablet and an unlimited 5G data plan. Chief Information Officer Barbara Kearns says the program helps fill the gap for students who don't have reliable access to a laptop.
I've actually heard from a lot of students that prior to this program, they were using their phones to try to do their schoolwork and submitting their assignments. Can you imagine typing a term paper on a cell phone?
Sophomore Nathaniel Isom has a laptop but appreciates the new option.
It's a bit easier because you can use your hands instead of just type in all the time and using a mouse, so it's a bit quicker and definitely more convenient.
The students will return their tablets when they graduate or leave Bradley University. Replacing a damaged or destroyed one over the 4 years will come with a small fee. Kearns says the iPads started rolling out to faculty last year, and some have already tested them for using tools like augmented reality in their classrooms. The devices come preloaded with a suite of Bradley and education-related applications. Here are some other stories we're following in the WCBU newsroom. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is getting his moment in primetime during the Democratic convention this week. And the U.S. Census Bureau estimates that by 2030, roughly a quarter of Illinois' population will be 60 or older. Plus, a state appeals court has tossed a proposal for an 800-mile high-voltage transmission line in central Illinois. You can find more of these stories and all the details at WCBU.org. One of the lesser-known names of the civil rights movement will be in the spotlight this Friday in Peoria. WCBU's Tim Shelley has more.
Bayard Rustin imported Gandhi's doctrine of nonviolence to the U.S. He mentored MLK, and he organized the 1963 March on Washington. Yet today, he's not as well known. As a black gay man, Rustin battled considerable stigma. Tiffany White, executive director of the Dirksen Congressional Center in Pekin, says she hadn't heard of Rustin before she met someone who worked on Brother Insider, a documentary about his life. His story reminded her of Dirksen's own role in advancing civil rights.
What we don't think about are the people behind those very public-facing figures. And in terms of the inside power, that person is Everett Dirksen. In terms of the outside movement, that person is Bayard Rustin.
The Dirksen Center is screening Brother Insider at the Peoria Riverfront Museum this Friday. That event will also feature a panel discussion about the film. Bennett Singer was the documentary's co-director. He believes Rustin is often excluded from the broader civil rights story.
His story really, I think, has so much resonance for us in this time in terms of his work to open up American democracy, to make this a more inclusive society. And his personal authenticity, I think, is such an inspiration.
Walter Nagel was Rustin's partner. He says the idea for a documentary was born in the late 90s.
He was well known in the civil rights movement and in the peace movement, but not in the general consciousness. He was not on the front page of the newspapers anymore, very, very, very infrequently. And some of the positions he took later in life were not as popular as some of the things he had done in the 1960s. So he was kind of being set aside and forgotten.
Rustin's politics took a rightward turn in his later years. Documentary producer Mridu Chandra says Brother Insider attempts to give a more complete picture of Rustin as a person.
One of the wonderful things about this film is that it looks at Bayard Rustin's life as a full individual and all aspects of his political thinking and also his personal life, because they can't, as we know, be separated. And for so many years, he had to live in sections in order to be effective.
Bennett Singer says there's a common thread of perseverance.
What's so, I think, amazing and inspiring and remarkable about his story is that despite those many obstacles that he faced over and over again through 6 decades of activism, he kept fighting, he kept reinventing himself. Yes, he changed focus, but he never withdrew, he never became angry, he never became bitter. And that sense of optimism and I think he just had this sense that he was ahead of his time.
Tiffany White of Dirksen Center says Rustin's story still resonates.
People today care about what happened in the past when they feel seen in those moments. And I think that when we go out of our way to make sure that we are including everybody who was a part of a story that happened yesterday or 60 years ago, we are encouraging and inspiring more people today to connect with that and then to use that as empowerment to replicate that which is worth replicating in these social justice movements of today.
Bennett Singer agrees. Though more than 2 decades have passed since Brother Insider was first released, he says the documentary is taking on a new life.
The film has been around for a while, actually since 2003, but it's so heartening that it's now on Netflix. It's reaching a whole new audience, and I think inspiring a whole new generation of folks to think about what activism can achieve.
Singer, Walter Nagel, and Mridu Chandra will be present on Friday for the panel discussion and Q&A session following the film screening. The event starts at 5 p.m. For WCBU's On Deck, I'm Tim Shelley.
Now, before we let you go, tonight is a regular meeting of the East Peoria City Council. Those meetings start at 6 p.m. at City Hall on West Washington Street. This week also includes a special meeting working session at 5 p.m. for updates to the comprehensive plan. And that's all for today. You can subscribe to WCBU's On Deck podcast on the NPR app, Apple, Spotify, or YouTube Music.